Perkins killed his hogs the other day, and the knot-headed idiot threw his money all away. He went into town riding on a board, and he came back home in a little old Ford. He steered it down the road and he headed in the gate, and he reached for the levers and he grabbed for the brakes, and he reached for the reins, got the throttle instead, and the little old Ford went chugging right ahead. So he stomped on the pedals and he shut off the gas, and he yanked on the levers and he broke out the glass, ripped out the wires and then tore off the top, but the little old Ford just wouldn't stop. So he took out his knife with a holler and a scream, cut a hole in the tank and drained out the gasoline, and he took out his gun and filled the tires full of lead, but the little old Ford went chugging right ahead. He went through the fence and headed down the lane, and his wife saw him coming. She liked to went insane. She stepped out to where she could see, and the Ford hit her right where the bustle ought to be. Now Bertha, she flew straight up in the air, and when Zeke came by, she grabbed him by the hair. She landed on the seat, and then she bounced on her head, and that little old Ford went chugging right ahead. Then they went through the yard and nearly hit a hole, and they hit an old sow, and you should have seen her roll. They headed for the barn and landed in a heap, in a big muddy puddle about 6 foot deep. So Zeke grabbed Bertha and he headed for the shore. Said he sure was glad he wouldn't run no more. But when he got to shore, he turned around and said, well, that dad-blame Ford's just chugging right ahead. The moral of the story is if you get bored and buy yourself a little old Ford, that car's like a woman who's running around. It takes a hell of a man to slow one down.